Alright, in this tutorial right here, I'm going to show you how to find a derivative using the power rule. So what's the power rule? The power rule goes as following: d over dx, which is the derivative notation of x to the n. So what I'm going to do to get the power rule and to use this formula is I'm going to move the n from the x for starters. So it's going to be nx and it's going to be n minus 1. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to have some number, let's say that's x squared, right? You move the 2 in front of the x and then it's going to be for the power, it's going to be 2 minus 1. So that's how you use it. So I'm going to give you a couple examples here how to apply it real quick. So number 1, find a derivative of x to the 7th power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the 7 in front of the x. So it's going to be 7x and it's going to be 7 minus 1. Alright, so that's going to be 7x to the 6th power. Alright, try this one. Find a derivative of 5x cubed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the 3 in front of the 5. So it's going to be 3 times 5x cubed minus 1, which is going to be 15x squared. Alright, how about this one? Find a derivative of 5. So a derivative of a constant turns out to be a 0. So like a constant being like 14, 5, 8, like negative 22, it'd be 0. So this is going to be 0. Alright, what about this one? Find a derivative of 3x to the 9th. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move the 9 in front of this. So I'm going to have 9 times 3, x to the 9 minus 1. 9 times 3 is 27, so it's going to be 27x to the 8th. Alright, find a derivative of 1 over x. Alright, so what am I going to do here? This is not an exponent form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to exponent form. So if x is on the bottom or a number on the bottom when you use the exponent rules and all that, it's going to be negative. So it's going to be 1 times x to the negative 1. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move negative 1 in front of the 1. So it's going to be negative 1 times 1 x, and it's going to be negative 1 minus 1. So this is going to be negative 1 x to negative 2. And then I'm going to convert this back to its exponent form because you need to put this in exponent form. So it's going to be negative 1 over x squared. So that's going to be the final answer for that one. Alright, how about this one? Find a derivative of the square root of x. So it turns out the square root of x is actually just x raised to the 1/2 power. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move the 1/2 in front of the x. Alright, so it's going to be 1/2 x and it's going to be 1/2 minus 1. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have 1/2 x it raised to the negative 1/2 power. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply put this in this exponent form because you cannot have a negative exponent like that. So it's going to be 1 over 2, and it's going to be x raised to 1/2. Or you could write it like this: 1 over 2 root x. Those are both correct, by the way. So if you want to know how to do those, just you could write these in both ways. How about this one? Find a derivative of e to the x. Well, it turns out an exponential e to the x is actually just simply going to be e to the x. And the reason why is an exponential function grows, right? So when you have an exponential function, right, it looks like this, has a generic formula. So it starts off like flat and then it curves up. It starts rapidly growing. Where a logarithmic function or a natural logarithmic function, it starts off kind of like this and it just flattens out over time. So it's the exact opposite, the inverse of an exponential function. Alright, so how about this one? Find a derivative of the natural log of x. Well, actually, the derivative of the natural log of x, I'm going to go ahead and give it to you, it's just 1 over x. So those are a couple derivative formulas we're going to use, and there's a couple derivatives, and that's how you apply the power rule to these derivatives. If you found this video insightful, be sure to follow for more content and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.